the keepers in the Africa department, and we're back with the amazing meerkats. They're showing off their skills right now using this awesome bottle enrichment feeder that our volunteer enrichment committee made for us. This is something that allows our meerkats to work their natural behaviors, use their brain, use those claws that they would use in the wild. So you might notice, it might be a little hard, but they do have 4 claws. They do not have retractable claws like a cat, so they're always sticking out, and those are used to help them dig and defend themselves. They can actually move their entire body weight in sand at once, so that is how strong their forearms are and how great their claws work. The reason this doesn't look like something they would find in the wild, but the reason that it is a natural behavior is because our meerkats are insectivores. So they are going to be in places where bugs hide so that they can, one of their favorite treats. So just like in The Lion King, meerkats do like bugs and grubs. They also get crickets here, and every once in a while Madagascar hissing cockroaches, which are a big treat for them. So in the wild they would eat a ton of termites, and that's a little bit difficult for us to keep around here. And they would also even eat scorpions. So every once in a while they will get stung by a scorpion, but they have built up some sort of immunity, and a scorpion sting doesn't always mean anything too scary for a meerkat because they've built up that immunity. We aren't exactly sure how it works, but meerkats can eat scorpions and even sometimes survive a venomous snake bite. So meerkats are really impressive. They're very small. A lot of times people ask us if they're full grown here at the zoo, and the answer is yes. Our meerkats will actually be turning 6 soon, most of them. And then our oldest meerkat, Santana, I'm not sure where he is right now. He's the lowest on the totem pole, so the lowest in the hierarchy chain. He kind of hangs out by himself sometimes to avoid getting in the way of the others and causing any fights. But he will be 11 in November. So these guys are full grown. They typically will live to be about 8 to 10 in the wild, and they can double that in the zoo because of the great care that they get. We provide them with all the nutrients they need. In their diet, for example, they get an insectivore diet made especially for animals that eat insects. They obviously get real insects. Mealworms and crickets are a part of their daily diet. They also get mice, raw meat, and some fruits and veggies, which are very much their least favorite. So they are a little bit picky. Oh, here comes Santana. Here, bud. Santana is the oldest, but also the smallest. He's on the other side of that PVC tube coming around right now. You might see that his nose is very, very dark compared to the others. When meerkats are born, their noses are pink, and as they age, their noses turn more black. But a female's nose will always keep some of that pink color. So it's a good way you can actually tell an adult female apart from an adult male. This is Shakira in front of you right now. So she has the most pink on her nose. She's also the chunkiest. They have a matriarchal society. So that means that usually one female is in charge and she kind of gets her way. So the boys don't mess with her too much when it comes to fighting over food. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them.
We've got a couple already.
Okay.
Rich wants to know, are they an actual type of cat?
No, that is a good question. Meerkats are actually a mongoose. So their closest relatives would be mongoose, dwarf mongoose, banded mongoose. These guys are a little bit different, and they have those round ears, and they're actually able to close them. So when they dig tunnels for protection and for their housing, basically, their ears can close up tight, and it keeps them from getting dust and dirt in their ears. Where mongooses typically have more pointed ears, but they are in the mongoose family and not in any way related to cats. A lot of the times I get asked if they are prairie dogs, which are animals that live here in the United States. They do kind of do some of the same things, where they live underground, they pop up out of holes, they dive into tunnels for safety. But these guys are technically carnivores, and they have a different type of teeth and a different diet than prairie dogs, which are in the rodent family and eat more plants, so they're herbivores.
Sarah wants to know about the noise that they're making right now.
That's one of my favorite things about meerkats. They have such big personalities and they make tons of vocalization. So these are little grumblings where they're annoyed with one another. They're kind of just fighting over food. They're very defensive about food. So you'll hear those noises when they're eating. They have about 9 to 14 different vocalizations, and I've actually heard a lot of them. So if they see an aerial predator, something that's flying above them, like a hawk or an eagle, which are one of their biggest threats in the wild, they will make a certain alarm call that would be different than if they saw a jackal or a snake or a terrestrial predator. So these guys know when to dive in their tunnels, when to mob, which means kind of bouncing on all fours with their tails straight up in the air as a big group. They see another group of meerkats encroaching on their territory. They will mob at them, trying to make themselves look bigger and like a large animal. They would do that to a snake or a smaller predator and try and scare them off. But they'll make different noises if they're cuddling and they get annoyed with one another. Shakira makes the most noise. She definitely gets annoyed the most, which is very funny to me. And so yeah, they have a lot of different vocalizations that, of course, I don't know what every single one of them means, but I can start to tell if I hear one vocalization, I know that there's something above. And one time it was a balloon. So of course you shouldn't release balloons, but it not only litters, but it scares our meerkats here at the zoo. They think it's an aerial predator.
Ashley wants to know, how many babies do they have at a time?
Typically they'll have between 2 and 5 babies. They're called pups at a time. And they will stay underground for at least 3 weeks, sometimes longer. And they'll be kept safe that way. And when they do emerge from their dens, they'll come out and the whole group will help look after them. So it's very important to have other meerkats around to keep those babies safe. So while the mother is out foraging, a brother or a sister or the dad or an aunt or uncle will stay back and make sure the little ones are safe and protected.
Kieran has a great question. He wants to know, do the dominant ones get more food?
That typically, yes. If they're in this situation where they're in close proximity to each other eating at the same time, the dominant ones will get more food. Now in the wild, they do spread out a lot and they'll go kind of on their own, stick around a certain radius, but they'll go off on their own. And I would think the best hunter or the one with the best sense of smell would actually probably get the most. But like I said, they just don't compete too much with Shakira or with the females, so she gets pretty much whatever she wants.
Rosie asked, are cheetahs one of their predators?
You know what? I think if a cheetah could get a hold of a meerkat, they would probably eat them, but that is not one of their main predators. No, they would probably be hunting animals that are much bigger. Meerkats are pretty fast, not nearly as fast as a cheetah, but they can run about 20 miles per hour for short distances, so they'll always have a bolt hole nearby or a tunnel that they can go in. So that's why you'll see our PVC pipes and different tubes here so that meerkats always have somewhere to go. But they do get to dig their own tunnels every day here at the zoo for exercise and places to cool off and that sort of thing.
Haley wants to know, do we control the food intake here to make sure that even the non-dominant ones get enough?
So we do not separate our meerkats. They are very socially complex. That's a great question. We do spread out their food, though, when we give their food in different puzzles like this, but they do get the majority of their diet at night so that they can come in and be safe. And we spread it throughout their entire indoor holding area so they all have an equal chance at the food.
HJ was wondering, how do we keep them safe from hawks in Ohio?
That's something we actually have to worry about without all of you visitors here. Because we don't have people around to kind of keep the hawks at bay, we do have to be extra careful. We make extra rounds checking on them, and a lot of times I'll leave them with access so they can choose to go inside if they want to, and that gives them somewhere safe. But that will always be something we sort of have to worry about. Thankfully, there's usually a meerkat on sentry duty, so they are paying attention to see if there are any threats. And like we mentioned earlier, they will make a specific call to let the others know, and then they can bolt down into their tunnels for safety if they see something. So we wanted to show you guys something extra fun today. If you check out the website, we have a project for you to do. I'm guessing some of you at home might like to finger paint, just like our meerkats here at the Cincinnati Zoo. It's one of their forms of enrichment and something that we do to help raise money for conservation. So these guys do paint, it's their choice. This is Shakira and Mark, our dominant pair right here. So we are going to go ahead and paint with our meerkats, and we would love to encourage all of you guys to do a finger painting of your own at home, where you use your thumbprint and make that the meerkat body, and then you can draw the body on. So make your own mob and then send them in to us. And if you send us in a photo of your artwork, you will be entered into a chance to win one of these paintings that we're about to do right now with our meerkats. Woo! It is hot. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. You can hear all the grumbles. I'm just going to get their paint set up for a second.
I'll ask you a couple more questions while you're setting up. Devin wants to know which of the meerkats likes the bottle feeder the most.
Oh, that's a good question. I would probably have to say Mark, our dominant male. He's definitely the smartest, and he will go for the food the most. Devin also really enjoys it, and they all do it, of course, but Mark is probably the best at it.
Ian wants to know, are meerkats nocturnal?
No, they are diurnal, so they are awake during the day, and they will typically be found, this might get messy, they are typically found sunbathing, foraging, or cooling off down in their tunnels throughout the day. So they will go underground at night where they are safe from predators, and they typically don't come out until it is nice and sunny in the morning. And that is because they are definitely dependent on the sun for their body heat. So they'll come out and they'll stand up with their bellies to the sun, and that helps them warm up.
Naomi wants to know, would meerkats make a good pet?
That's a good question. They would make a really cute pet for about 5 minutes. These guys are actually really smelly. They have an anal gland that they scent mark everything with. They don't really like to be cuddled or picked up, and they can dig anywhere, of course, and they live in groups, so they would really need to be socialized with other meerkats. So unfortunately, they would not make great pets. Sorry, I was just going to say, we always suggest dogs and cats are your best pets to have at home. They're very naughty.
Emmett wants to know, do they ever swim?
No, meerkats actually hate water. They do not like rain. That's why if you come to the zoo when it's raining, you will not see the meerkats. One, it keeps them safe from their tunnels getting rained in, but also because they do not like to be wet, so they will hide immediately.
For some of the people that are just joining us, can you tell them what we're doing here with the paint?
Yeah, so we are painting with the meerkats as a form of enrichment. Different colors, different scents are good for them. And also we're encouraging all of you to finger paint at home and show us the artwork that you make, and you'll be entered for the chance to get one of these meerkat paintings. This is not a trained behavior, it's just a lot of fun.
Emily asked, what is a group of meerkats called?
A group of meerkats is called a mob or a gang. So they have a pretty cool name. Switch these around.
Karina asked, are they good climbers?
They are good climbers. That's a great question. They will actually climb up onto higher items so that they can get a better view and be on the lookout for predators. So they'll climb termite mounds or rock piles or big sand piles if they can find them. Usually only 1 or 2 participate in painting at once. But yes, they are good climbers, but they wouldn't climb like straight up a tree, really. It would have to kind of have an angle to it.
Brooklyn asked, are we going to have to clean the paint off of their feet?
Thankfully, this is non-toxic Crayola paint, and it'll wear off as they dig in their tunnels and that sort of thing.
Steve wants to know what you're feeding them right now.
I am feeding them, they're stealing from me, mealworms and crickets. So they love bugs.
Grayson asked, how fast are meerkats?
They can run about 20 miles per substances.
Jason wants to know, are they related to any other animals?
They're related to other mongoose, so band-aid mongoose, dwarf mongoose, that sort of thing, but they are not in the cat family like a lot of people think.
And our last question is from Kaylee. She wants to know, are they endangered?
Thankfully, meerkats are not endangered right now, so we are very happy to report that they are not. If you guys don't have any other questions, we're going to go ahead and try and wrap up before I become the canvas here covered in paint. We hope that all of you enjoyed our meerkats, and we can't wait for one of you to show us your artwork and take home one of our meerkat paintings. So thank you again for tuning in and all of the support you've given us over the past couple of months to the zoo. If you're looking for a way to support us, you can get one of these really cute Fiona masks. And that'll go directly to the zoo and help us take care of the animals. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.